going on, guys? We got an S22 Ultra that has a broken screen. The LCD is messed up and it's cracked. It's got the black spot. So what we're gonna do here is replace it with a brand new S22 Ultra service pack from Samsung. And basically what it is the entire frame and LCD, everything in one. And what we're gonna do first is we're gonna start by heating it up, and then we'll just remove it. All right, so once we have the back warmed up, what I like to use is this magic glass tool. It's you can find them online. I probably won't be able to link it because it's random places that you'll find this, but it's just a thin piece of metal. And the thing about it, I'm only going under the screen the tiniest little bit. So we're about that far under there. And we're just gonna roll it around, getting this back glass. Whatever you do, make sure you don't put it in too far because you will mess up some stuff. Once you get it broken free a little bit, I like to come in with this plastic tool, kind of work my way around. Right here, we're gonna have to get it started again. The corners are usually the hardest spot. And if this back glass was good, you can take it off pretty easy. Now that I got it freed. There. So it came off in one piece. Okay, so once you have the back glass removed, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come under here. We're gonna unstick this adhesive. Be very careful because this is your wireless charging pad. And if you damage it, the phone may not turn on. Not 100% sure on this particular Samsung, but some Samsungs, if like one piece is damaged like this, it won't let the phone operate correctly. So let's go by around here and take off these couple screws. And there is a connector right here. Let's pop these two off. Put that wireless pad off to the side. What we're gonna wanna do is start by isolating our battery. We can just start by pulling off a couple of these cables, get them out of our way if we can. Some of them we can, some of them we can't. So, battery's isolated. Let's continue to remove these screws. One thing I would recommend is do not touch any of these cameras with your fingers or anything. Once they have oils from your finger on there, they are damaged permanently. The only way to get that fixed is to actually replace them. So pop that off to the side. Let's see, all this is good. I like to come through and disconnect what I can so that I don't forget to do it later. There's still one screw here. Screw there. Come down to the bottom here. As you can see, the 5G antenna is screwed in. thing I did notice, and I guess I should have probably looked at it better, is this service pack looks like it may be from the UK or something, because it doesn't have the same antennas. It has somewhat of the same slot, but it's not the same antenna. So this one, what we're gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to modify these little tabs right here, and then I'm gonna have to use a little bit of tape to kind of like glue that in so that we can continue to, you know, use it. So that 5G antenna, put it off to the side. I just happened to notice that, and I forget about that sometimes. Sometimes the parts have little variations like this, so you really got to be careful. And when you are ordering, you know, a part, don't just say, I need S20, I need whatever. You need to find the SMG960 number, or whatever the number may be for your particular model. Sometimes a carrier difference is everything too. Let's pop that off, put that to the side. Let's get these cables out of the way. Go for the antenna. I like to usually, or go for the charging port. I usually like to keep these screws separate. Sometimes they're a little different. Sometimes they're all exactly the same. All right, so what we're gonna need to do here is kind of, I don't want to damage anything else. Pop this up. So what we're going to want to do is remove the SIM tray, which I should have did from the beginning, but I didn't. And then I like to come in and just pop it up, put it off to the side. So now we have camera to deal with, another antenna, which, shoot, I'm going to have to see if that antenna will work. Looks like we can try to pick up the motherboard out of here. This typically isn't the easiest type of thing to do. I can pull the S pen out. Sometimes getting the motherboard out could be like really tricky, because it's nowadays they're really tight. This is double thickness. It's not as easy as it used to be. So let me look and see. There's the spot. There we go. Put that off to the side. Now looking at this antenna slot here, I think it's gonna work, but I just, to make sure, I gotta try to get it off real quick and verify, because if it doesn't, then everything's gonna stop. So I got the antenna. Fits like a glove. Thank God. All right. So we also got this speaker up top here. And I isolated these two screws for it separate as well, just in case they're a little bit shorter. Pull this out, put it off to the side. Taking a quick glance, it does need a camera swap. If your part came with a front camera, make sure you swap it over, because if you don't, it won't work. I mean, just plain and simple. I believe on the new part, everything should be in there, so we should just be able to put that in and call that a day. So we got to pull out our battery and our camera. So what I like to use, because the camera is actually glued in, it's like a hot glue or something like that. It's not hot glue, but feels like it. I like to use this dental pick and then come around the edge here and pop it up. Whatever you do, make sure you don't pry on the camera itself because you could damage it. We're just trying to get the glue around the edge out. There, it's slowly coming out. Flip it back over. It's still really glued in there. What you don't want to do is force anything out of any of these phones. Start doing that, you're gonna run into serious problems. All right, so we got that camera out. Make sure you don't touch the lenses on that. Put it off to the side. Now we need to work on the battery. So what I'm gonna do is put a little bit of heat on the front screen and then it should let the battery come out. So in the meantime, what I'll do is I will start putting our other components back in. So it looks like this is gonna go in first because we're gonna make sure that this speaker fits in. The screws are hidden underneath the motherboard. So we'll pop that in. Put our camera off to the side. Grab our motherboard. Since there's no other cables in the way, it should be easy. Put that in. We'll put the one screw in here. Good. Connect these down just so that we don't hit them or nick them off with anything. Take their front camera, put it back in. That should be good. All right, so what we're gonna wanna do now is we can take this top plate and we can put it in. There we go. Connect that connector. Perfect. We can put our charging port back in the bottom. Our 3 cables, or 3 screws. Slide our SIM tray in there. Make sure that connector is good. Make sure this sub-one is good. Good. Now we'll take our speaker, put it back in. Just want to make sure I didn't forget anything, that everything looks good. That's all good. Plug our antenna back in. So once you got it heated up, I like to use either one of these pry tools or this razor. Kind of come in the bottom. See if you can wedge it up under. All right. So once we have this all done, we can put it off to the side because we have all the pieces. Take and slide your battery back in. Reconnect your connections. Okay, on this antenna, since we can't screw it back in, I'm gonna have to put a little bit of cell phone tape on the bottom of it. Just 2 little spots. I don't want to glue it in 100%, just in case it has to come back out, and then it makes it hard to get it out later. So this isn't ideal, but it's not going to go anywhere either. Since we're not going to be able to screw this antenna back in, I put a couple little pieces of cell phone tape on there, and I'm just going to stick it in the slot where it's supposed to go. And it should not come out at all. Make sure all these are connected really well. So everything is good. These 2 screws were for this, and I'm not going to be able to put them back in, unfortunately. So we'll hook up our power. We'll put our plate back on. Hook these guys up real quick. I'm gonna do a quick test. Put this old back on there for now, just so I don't get fingerprints or dust in there. Camera. Okay, so what I want to do now is test the cameras, make sure that they're all working fine. Everything seems to be good. Selfie cam works. So, with that being said, I believe we're not able to test the service because she has the SIM card. So with that being said, what I want to do is power it off and then we'll put the back on. So once you can confirm that the back glass is off of your panel without, you know, any weird stuff on the edges or chips, because it will crack the new glass, what I like to do is just add a little bit more adhesive to it. I feel like maybe sometimes you can put too much, but in some cases you can't have enough. Okay, so once we have the adhesive down and it's good, I like to run my finger around the new screen to make sure that the adhesive that it came with is on there really well. I did notice on the old screen there was, once you peel this up, I make the weirdest setups here. There was this little piece that went right here. And we'll just switch it over. There's no microphone or anything in it. I think it's just, you know, some sort of connector to the microphone itself. So let's pop this tape off. We'll take these pieces of tape off. Extra tape here. Now, just be aware that this phone is not going to be waterproof. If you need a waterproof phone, what you should probably do is take this phone after it's been repaired and go trade it in. And get one that you haven't broken yet. So, once that's all set up, ready to go, take our piece, set it right back in there. What I like to do, once I have it, once I have the tape on there, I like to take these little clamps. They're really weak. They're not gonna, you know, damage anything. They're not gonna even hurt you if you put it on your pinky. You know, it's not that strong. I like to take them, put them around, just to make sure that it holds down really good and tight. Get the best seal we can possibly get with it. Do a camera check. All right. Once we have them all down, what we're gonna do is just leave it like this for maybe about 20-30 minutes. So after we have this repaired, what I like to do is leave it here on these clamps for maybe about 25 minutes. And it should be good. It isn't waterproof anymore, so don't stick it in water. It may be waterproof, but I don't want to risk the chance. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. And if this video helped you, please like and subscribe. And as always, we'll be bringing you more Samsung repairs.